Even though this lemon bar has some added components, it's just as easy to make as the original and way more tasty. Let's get started. First, let's prepare our pan. I'm making enough lemon bars to fill a 9x13 inch pan, but if that sounds like too much for you, you can have this recipe and use an 8x8 pan, which has 56% of the area as a 9x13 pan. Grease that up with some butter or oil or whatever you have on hand. As a super classy gentleman, I will be using Pam. To totally eliminate the chance of stickage, we're going to line this with some parchment paper and then put a little bit of oil on top of that. Set that aside and preheat your oven to 325 degrees Fahrenheit. To make our crust, we'll put 2 sticks of butter in a saucepan. We're going to brown this. If you're unsure how to brown butter, I made a video with a few pointers that you can see here, but the short version is we're going to melt it and then keep it on heat until the milk solids turn brown. And then we'll pour it into a heat-proof bowl and set it aside for later. Next, we'll whisk our dry ingredients together, which includes flour, sugar, and salt. Exact ingredient amounts are included in the video description below, as always. Take a big sprig of rosemary and chop it up nice and fine. That'll get you about 2 to 3 tablespoons. Add that to the dry ingredients and give it a whisk. At this point, the butter should be cool enough to handle, so go ahead and pour that in and mix it until everything's homogeneous. We'll spread that out into our prepared baking sheet. Try and get it as even as you can. I oiled the bottom of a measuring cup and used that to get everything nice and flat, but it doesn't need to be perfect. Now we're going to poke this all over with a fork. This is called docking, and it allows steam from the crust to rise up and keep it from bubbling when it's baking. That'll go into our preheated oven for about 20 minutes or until it's nice and brown around the edges. While that's in the oven, let's get our filling mixed up. We'll start by zesting the lemons, which you definitely want to do before you juice them. You only want the yellow outer part of the skin. The white pith is bitter, so try to avoid that as much as you can. Once you have about 3 tablespoons of zest, you can go ahead and start rolling your lemons on the counter. This helps to break fibers in the lemon and helps you extract more juice out of each one. Use whatever citrus torturing device you have on hand to get the juice out of the lemons. We're going for about 1.5 cups of juice, which took 7 medium-sized lemons for me. Lemon sizes and juiciness are all a little bit different though, so I usually get a couple extra just to be sure. And please don't even think about using the fake bottle for this. If you're thinking, but it has 100% juice on the bottle. 100% juice doesn't actually mean 100% juice, and you'll need to watch this video to straighten you out. Honestly, it won't even be worth the effort if you use fake lemons, so just use the real stuff or find another dessert to make. So set that juice aside and crack some eggs into a large bowl. We're going to use 5 regular eggs and 4 egg yolks. If you don't know how to separate eggs, my favorite method, especially with this many eggs, is to crack them into a separate bowl and then use your hand to lift the yolk out and put it into the other bowl. You can use these egg whites for something else, so don't throw them out. Add your flour and your sugar and give it a good mix, and then add your lemon juice. Once that's all whisked together and homogeneous and your crust looks like this, pour the filling onto the crust. Then take it over to the oven, realize you forgot to add your zest, bring it back, sprinkle the zest on top, and then gently mix the filling to incorporate. Now you're ready to bake. This will go back into the 325 degree oven for about 25 minutes or until the edges are set and the middle has a little jiggle. This is about what you're looking for. Now, as good as it smells, we're going to want to let this cool completely. So after about 20 minutes of leaving it at room temperature, pop it in the refrigerator for at least 2 hours up to overnight. Then run a knife along the short sides of the pan where we don't have any parchment paper and gently lift it out. You can cut it into squares or triangles, really whatever you want. It doesn't matter, it's totally up to you. Dust generously with icing sugar and you are ready to serve. The added layers of flavor with the rosemary and the brown butter elevate this already delicious dessert without adding a lot of time or effort to the process. You should definitely give it a try at home. As always, please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time.